Hey guys, what is up? This is PJ at the High Mountain Homestead, and today I'm going to be talking about 5 things you can do to live that homesteading life even if you are in an apartment, a condo, or a townhome. So let me start with the most obvious one. Again, I'm going to be talking about 5 today, but the most obvious one is gardening. Now, you're in an apartment, so maybe you don't even have space for a single garden box. Our garden boxes are out in our front yard. Excuse the weeds, but this is our setup right here. Again, not an apartment setup, but I thought this is what gardening had to be. Remember I said we lived in a townhome for 5 years. For 4 years, we had boxes about this size. We had tons of boxes. We had big fat pots. We even had a fig tree. And we would try to grow things like zucchini. One year we got like 5 beets. Like, it was exciting for us, but ultimately the yield was super poor. But on our 5th and final year, we finally got our most prolific crop out of a small setting. You ready for what it is? Herbs. Oh my gosh. I think our most prolific were sage, lemon balm, basil, thyme, and oregano, and rosemary. So we just had a small fenced-in backyard. It was about half the size of our squash and pumpkin patch right here. So picture about half of that space. And it was 100% in containers. So it's totally possible. We had so many herbs that we were, and what you do with herbs, you dry them out, which makes for an awesome week when they're drying out in your kitchen. But we had so many herbs, we packed everything we could think of, and we were even given dried herbs away. It was such a cool, prolific harvest. Okay, number 2, canning. You're like, canning? I don't have room to grow tomatoes or squash or things like that, so why am I going to be canning? Let me tell you why. Canning is really important for anyone that wants to preserve things that are worth preserving. So again, you're like, yeah, I don't have a garden. But something that I wish I was doing, I was visiting a lot of farmers markets, and I even got to know a few local growers. If you've visited farmers markets before, you know that they're a little bit more expensive. That's a given. But at any farmers market, you can talk to the actual growers there and talk to them about, hey, when you come next week, what are you bringing? Okay, so you're bringing, strawberries up, or asparagus is up, or whatever. You can talk to them and actually request pounds and pounds of food, and they will largely sell it to you at a discount. So, can the food that you buy at a farmer's market, if you buy it in bulk, I promise you, they will offer you a discount on the food. So, ask for that discount. Ask to buy it in bulk and see what you can get, and see if it's worth it for you to actually can some farmer's market fruits and vegetables. Recommendation number 3 of how to homestead is sourdough. Do your own sourdough starter. Homesteading is all about self-sufficiency, and there are a few things more self-sufficient than just straight up producing your own food with as little store-bought materials as possible. I love doing sourdough. We don't grow wheat here, but we have a local producer that produces stuff within our own county of 100% wheat, so that's what we do. Along with sourdough, like your own, what's that cabbage? Sauerkraut. Doing your own sauerkraut would be another thing. Your own apple cider vinegar would be another thing. There are tons of things that you can do through use of fermentation. These are things that I would definitely consider part of the homesteading experience. Okay, number 4. I would recommend trying to find somebody who does local meat or local eggs. That supports the homesteading community. And so there's the obvious benefit of, yay, I'm supporting the homesteading community. But you will make connections there that will be super valuable. I've learned so many things about how to produce better animals by connecting with people that sold me grass-fed lamb, or pasture-raised grass-fed lamb. Okay, and as a bonus, if you can't raise chickens, if you can't raise sheep, goats, pigs, definitely not a cow, I have an animal that even the most stringent of HOAs would allow you to raise. All right, and here she is. This is our doe. My daughter named her Merida after the movie Brave. We are currently in the market for a buck and another doe. So if you know of somebody in Utah that raises silver fox rabbits, hit us up because our breeder is just been delayed over and over and over again. So we really need to get her bred because there's a certain time for that. But the point is, rabbits are quiet. Their meat is quite tasty, actually. It's very similar to chicken thigh, if you like chicken thigh. A lot of ethnic dishes cook with that. We love it at our house. So we are really excited to get the rabbit operation going. And they don't make noise, and they're super quiet, and they just stay in a cage. So rabbits are something that I would be shocked if you couldn't pull off a rabbit. Even some apartments don't have like an outside setting, but if you've got even 10 square feet of outside space, 2 to 3 rabbit cages would do you just fine. Our last item number 5, can you do bees in your location? So a lot of people are so afraid of doing bees because they think someone's going to get stung and someone's going to complain about it. And one of the things that I was kicking myself about right before I moved is, I had friends and neighbors asking me like, oh, why you want to move? I said, well, we got some land, we want to do some homesteading. And naturally they ask, what do you want to do? Sheep, chickens, some gardening, want to keep bees. And they're like, okay, well, like sheep we can't do here, and some of us have chickens, but a lot of people in my old neighborhood had bees. And I lived in a townhome, and I was shocked to find that just a stone's throw from my backyard, somebody kept bees in their backyard. And I kicked myself for not thinking of just doing it. If you're worried that you don't have a good yard for bees to get enough pollen to thrive there, bees will go miles and miles to find the pollen to make the honey for themselves and for you. Another thing about bees is maybe you have a friend that has a situation like they're in a single family home, and so you can ask your friend, hey, do you mind if I just leave my beehive or my bee box here? I'll share some of the honey with you. They won't sting. I will be the one to come check on them. A lot of the times, if you have a cool friend, they'll say yes. So consider doing bees. You don't have to check on bees very frequently. In fact, a lot of people say a big mistake is beekeepers check on them too quickly after they install them. So they're very low input as far as like daily maintenance goes. All right, so there you have it. These are my 5 steps. I really believe if you were to pick up and do any of these, you are making the world a better place. I have kind of like a romantic view of homesteading. I don't know, but I think homesteading is good for the economy. It's definitely good for the earth. It's good for you. It's good for your kids. I just think that there's a lot of good to be had of it. So any way you can get into that lifestyle, I encourage it and support it. Hey, if you enjoyed the video, please like it on YouTube. I think I mentioned it earlier, but I was in your shoes 8 months ago, okay? And now I'm in a situation where I've got 1.25 acres. I go out and I work with sheep and stuff like that. And there are so many things that I wish I knew now that I could take back to my townhome and apartment living days. Seriously. If you are an apartment dweller and you dig homesteading, what are you doing to scratch that itch? Or what are some of the things that I missed? Leave a comment in the comment section below. And if you are interested in a first-timer's approach to homesteading, subscribe to the channel. I'd love to have you aboard. I'm not an expert in this stuff, but I provide insight as to what it's like to for someone that's never done this but has always been interested. What does it look like when you're actually doing it? So if that's up your alley, hit the subscribe button. That's what I got today. I am PJ with the High Mountain Homestead, and I will see you on our next video. Check this out. This is our lone rooster. He will escape anything. We've clipped his wings. We've taken every precaution, and he would just rather be alone. Which is a shame because we're butchering roosters and he doesn't get enough food being alone, so we got to wait a whole nother round to butcher him.